Hey everyone, Carl and Erynn here, and it's time to do a wonderful tune, Little Sally Ann from Kentucky. Snake Chapman was the fiddler. He played a wonderful version of this, and I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. A modal, so we got a good A built into the mandolin, A and E here, and it's drony, and I think it's fun to play the melody, but also fun to do the chords. So we'll do a little bit a couple times through here and see what we can explore. Little
All
Sally
right,
Ann.
it's also known as possum up symmetry.
Yeah, sounds almost the same. Here we go. One more time. Oh, thank you, Erynn. Fun to
All right.
play. I like that tune. A little
a great
Sally Ann.
tune.
Yeah, so let's dig into that one here for a minute. So A modal, which means it sort of has some G notes in there in the melody, which is just a whole step below the A, the key you're in. And as you noticed in the guitar backup, we did put a G chord in there for the backup, and that's a lot of fun. But you can always leave that out and just do A too. And I think in the tab I've got G in parentheses for that purpose, so you can do the G or just stay in A there. So that's good to know. And before we even do the melody, I think what I want to do is just do play the backup, give you some backup ideas on the mandolin. So for the first part, why don't we stay on the thick strings, or like there's a G chord right there. And I'll tune a little bit as I go, because the mandolin always needs a little tweaking. It ought to be easier to get two strings to sound alike, but the mandolin proves it's not so easy. One of those is different, but that's okay. So for my A chord, I'm just going to do a bar. I'm just going to think of my low strings for my featured performers on the backup. Say if the fiddler's playing it and I want to just do, not play the melody, but do the backup chords. So I'm going to do bar A there for bum, ba dum, bum, bum. But then I'm going to go up to the 4th and 5th fret and do a small slant. So that's another shape there. This has the root in the bottom, that bar shape, or straight slant I call it. And then I'm going to the 4 and 5 from the bass, and that has the name of the chord on the 3rd string. So let's just try a couple of A chord for up to that. And that G just gives you 2 beats. So you got the first measure, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you have the A sound for 2 beats. You split the measure, and then the G. And then for D, let's just back up and have the 4th fret on the 3rd string and the 2nd fret on the bass string. So another shape there doesn't have a D in it. We're just staying on the low string. So some shapes will have the root and some won't. So keep that in mind. That's good to know. So I'm going to go, here's that first line there. Bar A, 4 beats and 2 more to that small slant G, and then 2 and 4 for the bass. This time you got the whole measure and 2 beats there, and we got to have an E. You could slide that and keep the same shape, but I'm going to change shapes and put my E on the 2nd fret and get the 4th fret in the bass, what I call a short reach. Listen to that whole thing. That's the halfway through. So bar A, small slant G, 2 and 4 for the D, stay there, and then the swap places sort of. 4 in the bass and 2, that's the E, short reach. And you're starting again, bar A, and up to G. Then this time, why don't we go do that? Maybe do there. You could do the same thing for E and then there. If you want to do something different, you could keep the D, maybe go up to that, slide it a whole step to the body, and end up with a small slant A. Well, that gives a whole nice sound. So here, I'll do it without talking. sorry. Small slant G and the big slant. I call this D. Stay there. Short reach E bar A. Small slant G. And this time keep that second fret, fourth fret, sixth fret for the small slant A. First part. That sounds really good. Now for the second part, what I'm going to do is think of the high 3 strings. I'm going to do 3 strings just for fun. And we have that nice 7th fret tuning checkpoint on the 3rd string. All right? So I'm going to use that for that, okay? And then we're going to go down to a little 4th fret with the open strings there. Kind of keep a mysterious sound. So this is where it gets to that D walk, right? So da-da-da-da-dum. I'm going to walk down to that 4th fret for D and back to that. I'm going to go low for the A here. And then bar the middle strings. Instead of barring A on the bass, now the E's in the middle bar. So I got da-da-da-da-da, 7, 6, 4, 2, da-da-da-da-da. Bar the middle strings in the second. Again up to 7, walk down to that 4th fret. Then you have D. You could just do the open. Maybe go back to there, okay? So that's the da-da-da-da-boom. So we're just changing our voice a little bit. Using the high strings for drone. Bar, middle strings, 7, experiment. Down to that D. And here you might even go up to something like this, do the small slant. So you got a lot of options there just in the backup. But I think you find that playing the backup and getting better at moving around with different string sets and different shapes, string shapes, chord shapes, 2-string chords, slants and reaches I call them. You find the melodies easier. So here's the melody, the first part. Let's go ahead and get into that. So you're starting out with a little slide from 5 to 7 on the second string is your unison or your tuning checkpoint. And you're going to do that twice. So you slide from 5 to 7 and you wait 1, 2, and 3. Okay? And you slide again and you go up slow to that G note. So I'm going to do that slow. That's our first phrase kind of with the slide and wait technique. Sometimes it's hard to wait, but it sounds better. It gets that syncopation in there. So 1, and we're starting right on the first beat of the tune. A lot of tunes start early, but this comes like, so you count 1, 2, 3, go. Slide, 2, open, slide, 2, 3. And that's where that G chord arrives, right? So you had the A chord and up to G, or you stay in A if you want to keep that kind of bluesy A sound. So 1, 2, first phrase, slide, 2, open, slide, 2, 3. Cool. And the second part, you're going to go, you have a little fall down from the 5, 3, 2, and that gets you to a D chord. Just notice our D chord, 2nd fret, 1st string, 5th fret, 2nd string. So it's going, and you're going to hold that shape, and you pick it up to get one note there. So listen to that phrase for a few times. You got the 3rd fret arrived, and then you're going to go 5, 3, 2, 5, 2, open 5. Okay, and then we're going to have a little finishing phrase for that. So listen to that a few times. So a little slower. 1, after the G, 5, 3, 2, 2nd string, open 1st. So you're really doing, notice when you're playing in between the strings, down, up, alternate picking there. You could just practice just doing that if we'll get you ready. So a nice exercise there might be, I'm big on making up exercises when you're trying to tune. You say, oh, that's got a lot of work on those high strings in between the strings, so you're picking down on the thin 1st string and up on the 2nd. And you might do, pick 1 beat on the 1st string, and then if you experiment with different rhythms to see what you do. The down beat you pick down, and if you're on the upbeat, 1 and 2 and, or 1, 2, and experiment with back and forth between 2 strings and different rhythms, and see long and short rhythms, and that'll get you ready for all these phrases. So the second phrase, and I'll keep going. 2, open, 2, 4, 5, 1st string, 2, open. So let me do the whole first line there, and that's going to be repeated. So wonderful thing about fiddle tunes is you get to be repetitive, and I love that myself. I often find myself saying the same things in almost the same way, and some people, need to hear things more than once. I'm being one of those. So here's the whole first line of the first part. 1, 2, here we go, slide. two open, slide up to 3. Next phrase, that D maneuver and the bounce. I'm gonna do it a little slower. Let's try and just get that in your head. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, that's the first line. The second line's the same thing with a little different tag at the end, I think. So slide, 2 open, slide up to 3 again, and see what happens. Same, but the ending's going to be 2 on the second string, and the 5th fret on the, and kind of a quick slide from 5 to 7. Just in that unison slide. Try that little ending, just that 2, 5. It's a G chord sound real quick, but then you get right off that 5 to 7 and pick the inside strings again. So, second line, slide up to 2, open, slide up to 3, and the D phrase and the ending phrase coming up, quick G slide. The whole first part one time there. Pretty cool. 1, 2, first part. Second line, slide, slide to the 3, slide to 3rd string, repeat. Up to 3. Beautiful. What we'll do at the end, I'll play the melody once and the chords once, so you can go back and forth too. And that's a fun thing to work on, being able to go in and out of the backup or the melody. Second part gets into a nice kind of a scaly pattern, some bouncy notes. So we start again on the first beat. It's going to be a nice A phrase there. Let's just try that a few times. So the open first string and second fret, back open, shifts to the 4th fret. And that, if you did an A arpeggio, the notes of A chord, you're kind of doing the A arpeggio, but you're adding a little bounce on that second fret. So you have an A arpeggio with a little flourish note in there. So open 2, open, and then 4, open. Okay, that's our first phrase. We'll do that a few times. 1, 2, 3, first phrase. Okay, and then it's going to bounce that 4, open again, and have a different phrase climbing up. 2, open, 2, 4, 5. And we're going to catch that second fret first string, first drum. So listen to that a few times. And that's going to be kind of a nice half of the first line. So listen to those 2 phrases together. 1, 2, the bouncy A arpeggio. And you wait, bounce again. Then the D phrase, climbing up to D and the chord. Okay, let's do that again. 1, 2, second part. Bounce up to the D, get that second fret for the strum. Then you're going to start out the same but does more bouncing. Adds a little more of that 4 in there. And you're going to have a different chord arrives. The E chord arrives. This is going to be a scale. And that bar E is going to come in for my strum there. So let's just try that E phrase a few times. 2 on the second, open on the second. And then you got to reach down 6th fret, 4, and 2. That's just the bottom of the scale from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in E. So that's halfway through the second part. Let me just play that for you. Let you hear that. 1, 2, here I go. Up to the D with a strum. Back to the A phrase, more bounce. And the E scale, bar the inside strings. Just keep going, same beginning. Here we have a different, get that little bluesy note and the same ending as the first part. So let me play the whole second part one time for you. Up to that D, more bounce, E scale, and bar. Get a bluesy note in here, open 3, D phrase, ending. Slide 5, 7, 3rd string. Pretty cool, right? So I'll do that second part one more time for you, a little slower. really fun on the mandolin or a fiddle or something. The melody can get in your head pretty good, which I like that. And again, that the G chord on the first part is optional. The A works great. And I was noticing just Erynn back up. You know, when people back up tunes like this, they'll go to the E chord early. It works great. They'll go to the D chord early. You can do a lot of things with the backup, especially the second part. Even the first part. You know, I'm putting a D to E. A lot of people just do the E early and don't even do the D. So there's a lot of options there. Experiment, listen to other players, and see what you like. You know, because you really have a lot of options here. They all kind of sound pretty good to me. You know, I might do it different every time I back up somebody. You know, different fiddlers might bring out different, make you want to do more chords or less chords. So there's a lot of variables there, but that's part of the wonder of music. So here's the second part one more time, then I'll do both parts one last time for you. So Little Sally Ann in the key of A. Some people would call it like A modal. So here we go. Second part one more time. 1, 2, 3, second part. You're going to repeat that. Repeat the second part. First part. Repeat the first part. I'm going to do the chorus though. Play the melody if you like. Second part, melody I'll do first. Get a little slidey if you like. It's good. I'm gonna do the chords, but repeat the second part, melody, right? Try that one more time. I'm repeating it one more time just to get my chords better. A lot of options. I went to E early there. So I kind of like almost the E early on that the last measure before the A. You can do it early, or you just have the D. So anyway, you have a lot of possibilities, but I think you'll find this melody's got a lot of some challenge to the right hand. If you hadn't done a lot of fast picking, play it slow. You know, play it kind of a nice, easy clip, but try to get a real steady right hand there, and you can make up exercise to do that too. So I think you'll find this a fun tune. A lot of fiddlers will enjoy this tune if they hadn't heard it before. I think they can learn it from you, so that would be great. You know, teach it to them, and then you can do your backup work too. So enjoy Little Sally Ann. I think it's a great tune there. And check out Chapman too from Kentucky if you hadn't listened to his fiddling before, because he's one of the greats. Did a lot of great tunes.